Well, good morning, Mr. Wheeler. And how are you today? Are you well?
I think he is.
He is well.
Yeah,
Still carrying on.
That camera's off, though.
The camera's on.
Is it now?
We're talking now. So we could have a little conversation later about the history of the farm and yourself, but you've promised me a walk round your old Oast house. Now, it's one of a kind in Kent. You've not developed it or anything, and you're still retaining the history, haven't you?
Yeah, things haven't changed much here.
No.
It's the same as it was before.
Same as it was.
Except there are no hops, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah. Now tell me how long. I'm going to get to this in the interview itself, but tell me how long have you, your family, been in the farm in life?
In the farming life?
Yes.
Well, we were the first hop growers recorded in England in 1696, so that goes back a bit.
Right.
And we haven't stopped hop growing until now.
What, the 70s or the 80s was it you give up?
We gave up in 1991, I believe.
Really?
Yes. And so it's 1696 to 1991 as far as we are concerned.
Yep.
As a family, we're still growing hops, but then in Sussex instead of Kent.
Oh, really? Yeah. Have you got you obviously got relatives down there,
yes.
Have you?
And so the next door farm up here at Bullin
yep.
grew hops from about 1750 till 2024.
Really?
Just given up.
I'm afraid it's they import the hops now from America, don't they, and all different places,
yeah.
And it's all in pellet form now, isn't it?
It's in liquid form as well.
Liquid form
yes,
as well.
So you can process your hop pocket that used to be
yep.
into a small jar and fly it anywhere in the world.
No, really?
Right, so it's
blimey. Well, thank you for giving me your time today, and perhaps we can walk around the old Oast house, is it called?
We like to call them Oast houses.
Yep.
Do you know why it's called an Oast house?
No, I don't. Please let the viewers know.
Well, it's called an Oast house because it's a Dutch word, and the Dutch for harvest is Oast. So it comes from the word Oast, which is Dutch, and it means harvest house, literally.
Really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
see,
nice to know.
That is the thing, though. But when our generation leaves this planet, all that history goes with it. This is why I'm keen to get you on camera.
Snippets like that are very interesting to me as well.
The
history of the whole thing is interesting. Little rhymes like hops, carps, turkeys and beer came into England all in a year. You probably know that one.
I don't, but I do there.
Well, it's an interesting one because people ask, where do hops come from? I'd say Flanders or Belgium.
Yep.
Carps, well, they would come from Fontainebleau in France.
France, yes.
Turkeys, of course, from America. And beer from the same place as Flanders, Belgium, I think.
Yeah. Now, obviously, beer back in the old days was drunk because the water wasn't purified, was it? And by making the beer, you boiled the water, didn't you?
In every house, you had someone called a brewster. And the brewster was the wife of the household. She stayed back to make sure that when you were drinking, you had something you could drink without dying from it.
Yes.
That's what it's all about, really.
Fantastic.
So it was very mild kind of alcoholic type
yes,
drink.
A light beer they called it, I understand, didn't it?
I think it was pretty light, yes. We don't have samples to this age to try, but I think someone should brew it up and try it again to see what they were doing to avoid the cholera and the other problems
yes.
in the world, which claimed many lives.
Fantastic. Now, we're going to go on now, and you're going to tell me all about the Oast, how they used to use it, and how did your family go ahead with it all, and the people you had come down as well, obviously, because you had Londoners come down to pick the hops back in the day, didn't you? And then you processed them, and then you packed them in the pockets. Have you got any pockets?
Yeah, I can rustle up a pocket for you. Yes, I think I have one here.
Fantastic. Right, let's carry on then, Mr. Wheeler.
Yep.
And can I call you Michael?
I think Michael would be very appropriate.
Thank you for your time, Michael. I do appreciate it. And so lead on, Macduff, as they say.
Are we filming at the moment?
Yes, we're carrying on. We're carrying on.
Well, from the hop garden, the hops would go into pokes.
Yep.
Poke is a bag, as in pig in a poke. What is a poke? It is a bag.
Right.
In this particular case, the bags are perforated, so as to let the air right through.
Oh, to keep them aeration.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where did they land? On this landing?
Well, we had an elevator. So they come by horse and cart or tractor. And they go up the elevator.
Up onto the first floor
onto
here?
a man's back. He would then turn left up there.
Let's have a look at this. Yes.
You turn left into the doors.
Into the doors up there. Yes.
Yes, those two doors are two different kilns. Different kilns.
Yep.
And
why is it slatted? Is there a reason why it's slatted?
that's a very good question. Rather like, why are the pokes actually perforated? Are they've got lots of holes?
Yep.
Keep the air circulating. Otherwise, if you have your hops in a bag that doesn't have the air circulating, then you have a problem of rotting very easily.
Really? That quickly?
Yes.
Oh,
they go
okay.
brown too quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what
So
they take on a not the right flavour you're looking for then?
No, they would not have the purpose built in.
Fantastic.
If they go brown, they deteriorate. You wouldn't have the alpha acid in there.
Ah, right. And that's what you're looking for, is it? The alpha acid?
Well, you go two types of hops. One's alpha acid and the other's aroma. And of course, the aroma is the British bitter. And that's what you use for that. But the alpha acid is for lagers and the like. And the alpha.
Oh, really? So you use the hops for the lagers and the beer itself?
Yeah, two different types. So you've got lager on the one side,
Yep.
which the higher alpha goes into the lager.
Yep.
So that is a different hop compared with the aroma varieties, which then supplies which is about 3.3 to 4% as opposed to 11% alpha acid. So a big difference between the two types of hops.
See, this is the knowledge we're going to lose forever, aren't we? So
No, I don't think so. You wouldn't lose that.
now you've turned it into a bit of a garden now, haven't you? Because obviously the drays or the tractors used to put up here in front of the landing there, haven't you?
The tractor would be along here.
Oh, okay.
Or the horse, depending on the year that you were talking about, and it would stop, and the elevator, which would be an old Lister elevator.
What, a Lister diesel?
No, just a petrol engine.
Oh, really?
Just bring it up there.
Oh,
Ideally,
okay.
of course, you'd have your picking machine right close to the Oast, wouldn't you?
Yes.
That's half a mile down there, half a mile. So you then have to transport them to here, and then get them into the cooling floor.
Oh, right.
So the cooling floor is the next place to see.
Let's go ahead then.
Yes, okay.
Fantastic.
This way.
Now, you've quite a character, Randy. You've been around here all your life, haven't you? And
Yes,
your
indeed. Yes.
family's farmed. You've got many cousins and uncle, I understand, haven't you?
Yes, I think they all went into farming as opposed to the church or the army. So that's quite unusual for three brothers to go into the
Really?
farming
Right.
industry. We go up here next.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I've got the galley laying at the moment.
Yeah, I can see the steps are well worn, these, aren't they? They've seen some history, these steps, haven't they?
Yeah, I've seen a bit of history, all right?
Right.
We're going down the alleyway here.
Right. I'm right behind you. Oh. Right, so these are the doors to the outside, you say, are they?
This is indeed the door to the outside. I've got loads of ladders and the like.
It's become a storage area, has it?
Yes, a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
This is why it's slatted.
this is the slatted.
Yes, and this shows you where all the overnight hops would have been stored
Oh, really?
on here.
So
then
you'd bring them in, and if you haven't got time to process them...
No, it's a matter of sequence. First of all, you have to have the normal hops for the day hops. You put them straight on the kiln. They would be there for 8 hours,
Yeah.
and they'd be about 140 Fahrenheit. And then after that, you then load the night hops.
Okay.
It's 11 o'clock at night.
Can I just pause you there while I put the lights on? 'Cause
idea.
Right, we're back in the room, Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, indeed, yes.
So we're on this floor. You was explaining what this floor was for, and the battery ran on the camera. So do apologise. So please carry on.
Yeah, this floor, which is slatted as you see,
Yep.
is there for purpose, and that's to keep the air circulation going through the hops, through the pokes. You remember that they
Yes.
are perforated, they are like a string vest,
Yep.
something, and that allows the hops to remain green as opposed to brown, which is what you don't want.
Right. So we've come off the elevator. We've gone into next door, and and you say this floor is for keeping them overnight, is it? You say?
Yeah, it's only slatted so as to keep the hops overnight.
Okay. Fresh for the morning.
Keep them fresh. Yes, exactly, and then they can be loaded at will. If you have a breakdown, you don't want your hops deteriorating suddenly. So that could easily happen.
Yeah.
So that won't happen if they're put.
If the air's blowing through them,
You've
keeping
got to have
them
air.
there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's right.
Just a quick one. What is the age of this Oast house?
This Oast house is varied because I think this was put up in about 1953 or something like that.
Yep.
This part here, and indeed this kiln as well. So it's a big variation.
So it's sort of an extension on an extension sort of thing.
It is. It's just like any house you have which is over 200, 300 years old. It's all tacked on, the new bits, aren't they?
Fantastic. Now I noticed that as we're coming in, I noticed the ramp you're going. It's obviously, was it wheelbarrowed into the drying areas? Was it?
This ramp here.
Yes.
Well, there's one behind you.
Oh, right.
And one here, and the man with the poke on his back.
Yep.
Would then be offloading it in the kiln.
Oh, is that one of
the kiln?
That is the kiln.
Shall we open the door?
Would you please? That would be fantastic.
Might be an idea.
Now, they tell me you never had any problems with rats or mice with hops, did you? Because they're not a feed type. Is this true?
Yeah, more with moths, I think, probably.
Really?
Yes.
Right, so it was brought in from here into here. Again, a slatted floor.
Yes.
But you've got a net over this one, haven't you?
Yes. The net is there to stop the hops falling through.
Okay.
So the hops would have been put on here.
Yep.
But on here would be what is called a hair.
Okay.
H-A-I-R. Importantly. Now the hair is there, and there are about 8 different hairs which would be hooked up on the hooks here.
Yep.
So it's when the hops get lifted off, they go individually through the door, over there, into the cooling floor.
Okay.
Onto the cooling floor, which is over there.
And obviously the vent area up the top, if I can get the camera to work up the top, is just like, there you go.
Yes.
And that's where the heat used to rise through the hops and exhaust out through them vents there.
That's quite right. And that you have 2 types of vents. You have a cowl or you have slatted vents like this.
Yes. I did notice you have got cowls, so this is a newer.
This is newer.
This is newer than the cows.
Next door, which are cowled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Shall we wander through there then, Mr. Peter?
Yes. Shall we go this way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lead on. Hey?
Yes. Not a very Scottish connection there.
Oh, is that? No, oh, I'm sorry. Again, I speak out of turn.
That's all right. So would you like to see another kiln?
Love to see another kiln.
Right, this is one with a cowl on top.
Okay. Now, what was more efficient, the ones next door or the cow, do you think?
I think they probably had more trouble with the cowl.
Really?
Therefore, they thought, why do we need a cowl? So therefore, they went onto the louver system.
Okay.
So that seemed to work as well.
Now, was it had to be insulated, or was it quite? It didn't have to be insulated, so.
Insulated from what?
The heat, to keep the heat in.
No, you didn't have to bother about it.
No.
Because once the heat had gone up here.
Oh, it's exhausted, isn't it?
Want to see the back of it.
Okay.
So it would just go straight out the top.
Let me have a quick.
With the sulphur as well.
That's another question I'm begging to ask, really. The sulphur. Now, what was the sulphur for?
The sulphur was put in the what is called the plenum chamber, which is below us.
Yes.
On a metal tray.
Yeah.
Lit up, and the burner would then start up and blow all the sulphur through the hops, which would be that depth up to the stick.
Right.
And they would have 2 uses, and one would be purifying the hops, and the other one would be colouring the hops.
When you say purified, do you mean the bugs in the hops?
Yes, there's always bugs in the hops.
Yep.
And it would be aphids and things like that to actually kill the hops, kill the aphids in the hops, and that would be the end of them. So you wouldn't have any nasties crawling about in the beer and the like.
Fantastic. Now, people have told me, whether it's true or not, that they used to chew and eat the sulphur sticks. Now, is that something you ever seen yourself?
Who did that?
I spoke to an old gentleman many moons ago, and he told me he used to love chewing the sulphur sticks.
Oh, well, that's an individual preference.
Yes.
I think we have heard that here. But I think also, going back a bit, they used to put sulphur in the dog's water, which would purify the water.
Oh, really?
Presumably in the water which was given to dogs.
Fantastic.
For some reason. So that's
Again,
an interesting one. We don't do that anymore, do we?
Again, good history.
It's a little bit of history, and I'm not sure they did it for a purpose.
Right.
But basically, your sulphur stick was a purifier.
Right.
Wherever you put it, I think.
Did it take the hops at all? As in flavour-wise?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No. That's why they kept on using it.
Right.
And then you would see at the top of the cows great plumes of smoke, and you think the whole place was on fire.
Really?
In fact, it wasn't that, it was the sulphur.
Now, we're in a square. Sorry?
It was called the reek.
The reek?
All that smoke and all that condensation coming out of the top of the cow was called the reek.
Really?
That's spelled R-W-E-K. That's it. R-W-E-K. Yeah.
You're a mind of history there, Mr.
Well,
Weeder.
only snippets, I'm afraid.
Now tell me, this is a square host. Now, what is the difference between they called it a roundel, or a square one? Which is more efficient?
Well, when they first created Oast houses, they created them round because they thought, well, the heat's got to be more efficient. With the
Circulating, yes, I
so the
suppose.
old ones are round.
Yeah.
And then after that, they went on to the square one and found no difference.
Really?
So then square is easier to build.
Yeah.
And obviously, you would build square in preference.
Yeah.
So the more modern ones would be square.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, it's got so much history, and thank you for showing me this. Beautiful. Look at them doors. They was meant to last, them doors, wasn't they? It was built to last.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's got number 6 on the wall down there. Is that?
Yes.
Why is that then?
That would relate to the hair. And you remember the hairs of the cloths that you would drag off.
Yeah.
With 4 men.
Yeah.
One on each corner.
Oh,
and
okay.
that would be number 6. So you had to put them in the right order.
Oh, really?
So the one that was on top had to be near the doorway here.
Yes.
And then you progress to the back. There's no good putting the one at the back on top.
No.
So when these things, you put down your hairs first.
Yep.
And then you load from this way.
Yep.
Go that way.
Oh, I can see now. It's 6. Oh, sorry. My ignorance. 4, 1,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
I see now. I do apologise. Yes.
That's why they put them up.
Yes.
In
Now,
sets of form.
who had the job of keeping them moving?
Moving or hover, because the dryer would have his hover stick.
Oh, okay.
Hover fork.
And that was his name, was it? A hover?
A hover fork is what I'd call it, which
Yeah.
is a fork, multi-spline fork, but with bobbles on the end
Yeah.
to stop them going into this.
Oh,
part
I
here. So
see.
you-
Yes.
It would glide over the top when you're making sure that the hops are hover enough so it doesn't stop the air going through. So it's got to be uniform to get the air through.
Fantastic. Now, how long would they be in here for?
It's 8 hours, really.
8 hours.
8 hours, depending on the weather outside, but sometimes they come in wet. Might be a bit more.
Excuse me. Oh, I beg your pardon. Now, for argument's sake, we're coming midday and these hops have got to be tended to overnight. Did the chap have to stay here all night and do this job?
Yeah, he slept here, all right.
He slept in here,
Yeah, he
did
slept down below.
he? Had his little cabrio, did he?
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. He was down below, and he was working quite a lot of the time until about 11:30, and then of course you get up at 7, and you'd check your hops to see if they were able to be pulled off.
And did you heat by burners or by coal?
We used a coal to begin with,
Yes.
charcoal, all that type of thing,
Yep.
and then we used oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
On there. Now, obviously, he had a specific name. What was his name and rank? Would it be, as they say?
Well, the hop dryer.
Yes.
Well, that was his name.
That was his hop.
Yeah,
Of course.
he was a hop dryer. Yeah.
Showing me being a bit naive and thick there, Mr. Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, shall we move on then? Explain this very well.
Yes, indeed.
But the trouble is now, Mr. Weed, it's like the upkeep of these buildings, isn't it, really? If you don't sell them off for housing.
Yes, it is the upkeep, as you see there are some holes.
Yes.
A few more than there should be.
Yeah.
But, we're going to
They see us out, wouldn't they, Mr. Weeder?
Say again?
They see us out, wouldn't they?
Yes, I think so, providing we look up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This area is turning into a bit of a storage area, I can see, but that's
a bit of a storage area,
that's
but
life, isn't it?
Yes, if we moved over here, I can explain it better in terms of the action after the hops have been taken off.
Right.
So hops are dragged off.
Yep.
4 men per sheet,
Yep.
per hair, and then they're put onto what is called the cooling floor, which is this.
And which is this here we're talking about, yes?
So from here, you would then scup it.
Scup it.
You'd then use a scuppet, which is a wide pusher.
Okay, a bit like a wide shovel, would that be?
Yes, a wide shovel.
Yep.
And it would be hessian and wood. And then you would then push them down into the hop pocket, which is over here. There is a pocket here I brought out.
Oh, is this
Yes.
your Pacific one, is it?
Yes, everyone's specific. And I can tell you what everything stands for.
Would you please? That would be fantastic.
So let's go from the top. This is the number of pocket that you would have. Number 1 being the first. And then the variety. In this case, it's a alpha variety called Target,
Yep.
which is worldwide. This is the type of hops that they are.
Seedless.
Seedless.
Would,
Yes.
Why are they seedless? I think of grapes as being seedless. Why are hops seedless?
I think that they bred them to the extent that they don't want too many seeds in there, and they call them seedless.
Ah, okay.
Beyond that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
You have to ask an expert.
Yes, go on. I apologise.
As you see here, this is the date here.
Yep.
This is the grower number.
Okay.
This is where the hops come from.
Is that your farm emblem, or is it just Kent?
This is the emblem of Kent.
Right.
And it should say Invicta under there.
Of course,
but it
yes.
doesn't, which means unconquered, because Kent has never been conquered.
Oh, is that the
by
reason
any-
by it, is it?
Yes, that's why we've got that emblem and motto. And it is purely geographical. The reason why Kent has not been conquered is because it's full of woodland, and anyone who's conquering would go in the woodland. They wouldn't come out of it in a hurry. Their days would end in the woodland.
Really?
Yeah, the whole great woodland that we had down there before the clearings took place, called the Great Forest of Anderida, I think it was called. That was the area where they would never have come out. So they went to Essex and conquered Essex, because they didn't have quite so many.
Fantastic. Anyway, we digress. Let's move on.
Yes. So, and underneath is the name of the farm and the location of the farm as well.
So, Elle Weeder. Now, you're Michael Weeder. Your sister's... Oh.
She's called Bridget.
Right, we're away again. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Bridget is obviously your sister.
Yeah, she is, yes. And Elle would be my grandfather. We've been farming here since about 1890, so that would...
Right, sorry about that.
That's all right.
So, we started with Elle Weeder. That is your family's name?
That's the family name. That's my grandfather, Leonard and Sons, and that's where we are growing hops in the parish of Yalding, which had more hops than any other parish.
Really?
In the good old days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's you've got 1 kilogram. Now, I can't believe that sack holds 1 kilogram of hops. Does it really?
No, the tare for the weight of the pocket without the hops is 1 kg. So you don't count that into your weight.
Gotcha.
The weight of hops would be everything minus 1 kg. And it was very modern to put a kilogram there in the 1990s, but we had gone.
That's metric then, isn't it?
Yeah, slightly decimal at that time.
Yeah, because when you think of hops, you think of back in the old days, don't you? You don't think of kilograms, you think of pounds of ounces.
Yeah, of course.
Proper old money, proper money.
Yes.
So that is one of your hop pockets, and they were sewn up at the top, was they?
Yes, but I might add that this is polypropylene.
Yep.
The older ones were hessian.
Yep.
And you would sew, in the old days, they put hops down here in the corners.
Yep.
And sew the corners up, so you had something to grab on.
Oh,
But
okay.
then nowadays, of course, or then, the successors had just the sewing corners like that.
Yeah, okay.
Just so you see that little bit of sewing that takes place
Yep.
there and there. So as you can grab the corners
Yep.
and transport them around. So you would then you would sew your pocket in the underneath the press here, and you would sew them with a needle and special string,
Yep.
and sew them up, and then shout away or whatever you like to shout when it drops on the floor.
Fantastic. Let's move on to the press thing.
Yes.
And you can tell us all. Now, this is not a new electric one, is it? Or is it electric? It is.
Well, a bit of a history here.
Fantastic. We love history.
We have a bit of both here.
Oh my
So
God.
this is a hand press which has been converted to electric.
Oh, okay.
And here we have the maker, Weeks of Maidstone.
Now, Weeks are quite a... Let's see if I can polish it up a little bit. Keep it a bit. No, it don't work, but Weeks of Mason. No, they're quite a big in the hop industry, wasn't they?
But they were at the time, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so, did you convert this or did they do this work?
We wouldn't have converted that on the farm, no.
No.
So it's a specialist engineering job, which
Right.
they would have done.
So, before the electric was on, you had a man with the handle winding it, did he?
Yes, yeah. Your same old plunger.
Same old plunger.
Yes, as you see there.
Yeah.
Same old hole in the roof. And the thing
Oh, yes, I see
Yes.
that there. Now, obviously, that spindle there. Now, when do you decide the pocket's right for sewing? Is there a knack to it?
That would be when the pocket is full, and when is that, you ask? Well,
Exactly.
On the automatic press over there,
Yeah.
it would be about 13 plunges.
Right,
So
oh,
you'd be about
13 plunges.
But for the automatic, this would be possibly more because of the fact it's hand.
Hand,
It was
yes,
hand.
was hand.
And the pockets in those days, because you couldn't get the compression, would have been lighter than the ones that you would have in this day and age, or 10 years ago when you could have pockets, because everyone now has bales,
Yes, yes.
which is a big transgression.
It's a fantastic piece of machinery. I mean, we've got to save this sort of thing, haven't we? For
Yes, exactly, because this one needs saving more than any other.
that was going to be my next point.
Yes.
If anything, I mean, the new hydraulic ones, what was brought in into the 70s and 80s, have got nothing
Yes.
on that one ever. I mean, just
that's
if
right.
I can bear around there, look at the old electronics, their electrics.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we got pigeon. And
Yes.
but what a piece of history that is. That was built properly when England used to know how to build things properly,
Yes,
didn't
exactly. I'd say so. That was a good machine.
they? Good bit of kit.
Yes.
Right, shall we move on?
Yes.
And where are we going now, Mr. Wheeler?
Well, I think we can go downstairs.
Oh, see the burners, perhaps?
Yes. Well,
Oh, and the...
burners aren't here anymore.
Oh, they're not...
Take them all out.
Shall I shut them doors for you before we go down? Yes.
You do that one.
Yep.
Do this one.
Right, let's just... Fantastic. And the floor above, is that there for a reason or...
Yes, well, that was before my time.
Right,
So I don't know if we ever used that.
right, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a mezzanine floor, they obviously used for some sort of storage, didn't
Yes,
they?
yes, exactly.
Oh, we've got another press here, have we? Oops.
So there's a press there, automatic press.
Oh, that's automatic, is it?
Made by Maltby. Yes, so you press the button and it would go down, the plunger would go down and come up at the same time, just afterwards.
Okay.
So that would then, you'd be up here with your cooling,
Right.
on your cooling floor with your scuppet.
Yes.
Shall we see if we can find a scuppet?
Would be perfect if you don't mind.
Right, there should be one here somewhere. There's one. It's not,
Oh,
not
yes.
in good order, but it'll do.
That's...
This is the scuppet.
And that was what you moved the hops around with, was it?
Men were smaller in those days,
Oh, right.
but it's like that.
Was it made from Pacific wood so they don't scratch the floor or anything
No,
like
nothing like that.
No?
No, just wood and Hessian.
Oh, please keep that somewhere safe, Mr. Wheeler.
That's a good old scuppet. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh, if you've got any of them spare, I'll buy them off you, Mr.
Yeah,
Wheeler.
exactly.
And what is the bed? Right, we're back downstairs,
Right.
Mr. Wheeler.
I think what we'll do, we'll go over here
Fantastic.
and have a look. See, of course, it's very flat here, and that's why we have a lot of bikes.
Oh, okay.
And a bit like Holland, easy to get around with the bike.
Oh, yeah.
So here,
Plenty of exercise.
this is where a burner was
Yep.
here, and blew the hot air
Oh, into that.
into the plenum chamber, which is through there.
Can we go into there?
Yes,
Fantastic. And it's through number 2, I presume. Door number
Yes.
2.
it is again full of junk. That's what happens to an elders.
Wow. I see you got the scythes hanging up there. What did you use the scythes for?
Not corn anymore.
No.
Combine harvester.
No.
But we use it for grass cutting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very effective tool. And here is
And we have a light on this
the
one.
plenum chamber. The plenum chamber, this is where the hot air came in. And
Right.
above you have a lot of
The floor.
cobwebs going on, of course.
Now, is it specific that it's quite a big area for the heat to spread round to go upstairs? Is that a, or is it, because I mean, you would think it'd be just like a chute going upstairs, really, wouldn't you? Rather than,
You've got to make sure that every corner of the top
yes.
is treated the same.
Oh, okay.
So you've got to have enough.
So you
hot air.
spread the heat out
Yeah.
over the whole surface.
Yes, so it's blasted in here with a big fan,
Yep.
5-foot diameter fan,
Really.
and then the air would come up and through here.
And for all the Hessian sacks above us.
Yes,
Oh,
that's quite right.
I'm going to have a wander around. This is,
Yes.
I love the little light there.
Yes.
Sort of very old-fashioned type thing, isn't it?
Very handy thing.
Very
Very
handy.
be lost.
Yes. Of course, you store all your relatives' stuff here, don't you?
Yes.
It never gets picked up, does it? After all.
Well, they say if you've had junk for more than 10 years, you want to get rid of it. But I think I've a bit of a failing there.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of everything here, I think.
You do a bit of target shooting, do you? Not target shooting, clay pigeon shooting.
Yeah, there's a bit there.
Yeah.
Well,
Fantastic. Well,
yeah.
we're coming to the end of it now, and shall we go outside in the light?
Do that.
And that room down there is just the same as this room,
Well, I
is
think
it?
we ought to mention the. This is what is called the saddle,
Oh, right, yes.
and this is where the hot pocket would be when you lower the saddle to this level,
Oh, okay.
and then
Would you lower that manually, would you?
yes,
Yes.
on a wheel,
Yep.
and then
As it's compressing downwards, would
yes.
you do that?
Well, what you do, you've got to put that right down.
Yep.
Then you've got to come up a bit, and so that when the hot pocket is pressed, it mustn't suddenly break the wires of the saddle.
Oh, of
So it's got
course.
to be at the right level.
Of
So you put it
course.
down there, bring it up a bit, and you've got it right. You probably bust 1 or 2 pockets, but in experimentation before you actually get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you've got to do that, and then when the whole pressing is finished and you've sewn up the top, you then let that down onto here, having shouted 4,
4?
get out of the way, or whatever you
Yep.
choose to do, and pocket comes down here, then you've got to stack it up.
And that is your storage area over there, would
Storage
be?
areas there, or somewhere else, or it goes straight, or it used to go straight to the hops marketing board.
Okay, and where would that be, Mr. Wheeler?
That's in Paddock Wood. Or
Paddock Wood?
Yeah.
Would it? Yes.
But then
Oh.
that got slightly dissolved in the 90s or thereabouts.
All right. So tell me, the pockets, how many would you produce, do you think? What is the average harvest of hops from your farm would be?
Well, at the height, I suppose it would have been about 450,
Really?
something of that order, because there are an awful lot of hops on. You see, this is only one farm at the moment.
Oh, did you bring the hops from the other farms as
Yeah,
well?
because when farms
Let's
were
walk
bought-
outside in the
Yes.
light. Yes, go on.
When farms were bought, very often they were very small farms.
Yeah. Well, all the old hop gardens, that's why they become a hop garden, really, didn't they?
Yes.
Rather than a big farm as such.
Oh, yes. Well, every farm had hops.
Stay there, Mr. Wheeler, stay there. Right, go on.
Every farm had hops because it was profitable for having hops because it was a must-have.
Really?
You wouldn't really have a farm in Kent without having hops.
No. I mean, why specifically Kent, though? This is I can't get around.
Well, hops is related not so much to the soil, it's related to the fact that you have to have labour
Yes.
for your picking until
Okay.
about 1955, 1960.
Yep.
Which case, at that time, you would have a machine to do the job for you. Mm-hmm. So then, if you've got the labour, you'd have it from London for here.
Yep.
And the other place for hops would be the West Midlands, where you'd extract your labour from Birmingham.
Yes, that
so
makes
they
a lot
come
of
down by
sense.
train in both cases.
Yep.
So it's no good having your hop gardens miles away from labour because you never get them picked. That's
No.
the problem.
So your labour during the off period, say, what would that labour come from? Would you employ permanent
Be
people?
permanent on the farm, apart from other jobs, which would be like putting up wire work and the like, which you
Yes.
have specialists for.
The stringers, the people that used to put the strings
Yes,
up.
They would be on the farm, people on the farm who would have that skill as well.
Fantastic. Now, I've seen videos on YouTube and on TV as well. They used to have competitions, didn't they, for
Yes,
stringing the
yes.
hops and binding the hops. And,
That's right.
And
I was involved with all that.
Was
Yes,
you?
We did that, yes, and we had those competitions which was affiliated to the Ploughing Match Association.
Ah,
or the
okay.
Wheel of Kent Ploughing Match Association, which did that in the spring, and that was the first thing that, or the first competition in the year was the hop stringing competition, for which you would get silver.
Really?
A silver prize, and be very proud that you won it.
Fantastic. Oh, obviously, you had specialists in that field, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
Did you have your own person, or did you employ
We had our own person doing that, yes. We used to.
Now, they tell me, another thing they tell me, that hops only wind round the strings in a certain way
Yes.
in this part of the world, whereas in Australia or places like that, it winds the opposite way, doesn't it?
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Really? Oh, okay.
I think what it is, I think throughout the world, the hop plant, and I might be wrong, but I don't think I am, the hop plant goes clockwise.
Right.
Same way as your watch.
Oh, okay.
But the bean plant goes the other way.
Oh,
Now, if you put a bean plant up clockwise, it'll just fall down. It won't like it. Vice versa. Same thing with a hop plant. If you put a hop plant up
Yeah.
anti-clockwise, it won't be very good. It'll just fall down. So it's essential to be doing that.
Yes.
So then that brings one on to the training time. When
Yeah.
we train the hops. And we used to get people of all types through all the world, including India. And every people, they all have their different ways of training.
yep.
In particular, the Indians weren't very good at, they didn't have any wristwatches, but I had to put my own on the ground so as to show them which way the hands go, which is the same way.
Really?
It goes up the string.
Fantastic.
And then gradually they got the gist of it, but very, very often you go back and find it's the wrong way and then you've got to do it yourself.
Fantastic. Now, after the stringing, after they start growing, the spraying obviously comes. Do you have to spray the hops, keep the bugs away?
Always you have to spray everything really
Yep.
in order to get the product which will be sufficient for the marketplace. And so there's an awful lot of spraying to be done, and the things you spray against are red spider mite, especially if it's a hot year.
Yep.
You've always got the aphis to worry about as well.
Yep.
And then you've got powdery mildew, and then you've got spike, which is another type of mildew. So you've got fungal sprays as well to deal with. So an awful lot of that as well to be
Okay.
done. Yes.
It sounds like a lot of hard work, Mr. Weeder.
Well,
but
I think the inputs are very, very high for hops.
really,
Yeah,
at the
they
time
were.
they was
They're
they?
very, very high, but at least the outputs were high until suddenly they weren't. And the outputs became so low that the inputs didn't make any sense. So that's why so many people came out of it. And so that's why 99.5% of growers aren't growing anymore.
They've gone into arable completely, haven't they?
Where you come out of that into not completely, because there are new crops that have come about lately,
okay.
and that is, of course, vineyards and things like this, you know, and modern apple orchards, which are very intense. Very
Now, I don't know where I've heard this. Probably read it somewhere. They used to have a male hop and a female hop.
Yes.
Now,
that's right.
obviously, the male hops used to be in hedgerows. Was that correct?
No, you would plant your males inside your hop garden.
Oh, okay.
I forget the relation or the ratio. I think it was 1 in every 100.
Oh,
you'd have
really?
99 females to one male.
That sounds a
Yeah,
good idea to me, doesn't it?
Who'd like to live in a hop garden?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I understood it. They was always grown in the hedgerows because then they sort of So so the bees would do their business, would they? And
Well, they may well have been in the hedgerows as well, but you do find an awful lot of normal hops.
wild
in the hedgerows.
hops in the
Yes, you do,
hedgerows, yes.
Which
Now, why was they called a hop garden?
well, they are in Kent, but certainly not in other parts of the world, like Hereford.
Yeah.
They're not called the same thing.
No.
I suppose in Kent, because we are the Garden of England.
Oh, of course, the garden, yes.
But in Hereford, it would be called the hop yard.
Hop yard.
A different way.
In America, they're called hop yards as well, aren't they?
Quite possibly, yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I think we've had this video for quite some time now, and you've explained everything in detail. I much appreciate, Mr. Weeder, and we're going to have a chat on another video about the history of your family and farming, and we can get to. We look forward to that, won't we? So, once again, I can shake your hand and say thank you for your time and all your information, your history.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you for your time.
It's been very interesting for me as well. Thank you.